Good afternoon or morning, depending on your time zone, and thank you so much for joining us for today's HRMS Expiring Benefits webinar. Today, we will cover how to expire a benefit plan for one employee and all employees. I will now turn it over to our training specialist, Lynn Klee, to present today's webinar.
Thanks, Ben. As Ben said, my name is Lynn Klee, and I'm a trainer at Sage. In today's session, we will verify if benefit history records are enabled, talk about benefit codes and what their values mean. We'll use the benefit type code to be able to identify the difference between a current benefit record and a history record. We'll expire an insurance plan for one employee and all employees. We'll look at solutions to stop expired benefits from appearing on our HR benefit reports and our crystal reports. Now, these topics that we'll cover in the next 30 minutes or so are part of a different training class. We actually have two one-day training classes. Now, as you can imagine, today's agenda is very specific and focused on expiring benefits. If you'd like to learn more about setting up and maintaining benefits, I'd like to take the next 3 minutes or so and show you how you can access these classes on Sage University. In the URL, I'm going to go to sageu.com/HRMS, and over on the right-hand side, I have an option to view training by subject. So I'm going to click on this. The topic we're focusing on today relates to the HR module, so I'm going to select Sage HRMS. In the list that appears, there's a couple of courses. The second one in the list is Managing Your Employees with Sage HRMS. And down near the bottom, we have Managing Your Setup in Sage HRMS. Both of these deal with benefits and are recommended for additional information. So again, just to recap, you can go to sageu.com/HRMS, click on the right side to view training by subject, select the product, and in this case, Sage HRMS, and voila, we can see a list of our classes. Simply click on the class that you want and then register. Now, customers with Gold support receive 50% off any Sage HRMS instructor-led training. If you register for a course, be sure to use the code HRMS resource, and you will get, whoops, I've got a little bit of a spelling mistake there, should be resource, for 10% off. Now, if you have Gold support, you get 50% off plus an additional 10. If you don't have Gold support, don't worry, you'll still get 10% off your instructor-led training. Now, this information is located on page 5 of your handout. Here's that URL to go to, www.sageu.com/HRMS. Is everyone ready to get started? I know I am. So let's go ahead to page 6, Expiring Benefits Overview. I'm going to bring up Sage HRMS right now, and everyone should be able to see it on my screen. So on page 6 of the handout, we're going to start with how to enable benefit history. So from the navigation pane, I'm going to start with Setup, System, Enterprise Setup. One of the first things we want to talk about today is how to enable benefit history. To do that, we come in here to the Enterprise Setup, and there's a selection button, a radio button, to enable or disable. So if you have it disabled and you've never had it enabled, you will have no history records that were tracked in HRMS. If I have it enabled and I then disable it, I won't lose my history records that were already posted. But going forward, it won't prompt me to create a history record for my insurance benefits. If I then enable it, going forward, if I create history records, they will write to the table and be available to view. Some of the other items we're going to cover in today's agenda in the handout on page 6 is we're going to review the data dictionary and benefit type codes, to discuss the difference between a history record and an expired benefit, we're going to expire a benefit insurance plan for one employee and then also expire the insurance plan for all employees. And finally, we'll look at solutions on how to stop expired benefits from appearing on your standard HR reports and your crystal reports. So again, I've got my benefit history enabled. Now in the handout, there's an important note. It says if benefit history is disabled and is changed to enabled going forward, it will save history records. When the setting is disabled, Sage HRMS is not saving history records. Going to click OK. Going to navigate to Hugh Allen, his benefit insurance plan. Notice I have the option on the right-hand side to include history record. If I had disabled it in Enterprise Setup, I would not have that option. Right now, the radio button is on Show All Benefit Plans. You may work with current benefit plans and not want to see history all the time. If you want to change the default to Show Current Benefit Plans, from the settings, the little wheel icon at the top right-hand corner, I'm going to go into User Preferences. On the first tab, General Preferences, is a field, Show Benefit Plan Default. Right now it's on Show All Benefit Plans. I can change it to Show Current Plans Only. Click OK to save my change. So I'm just going to log off, and then I'm going to log back in. I'm going to pull up my employee, Hugh Allen. Notice that now the radio button defaults to Show Current Plans Only. And again, that was located in your settings, User Preferences, Employee Benefit Plan Default. Still on page 6 of your handout, we're going to talk about the data dictionary. So let's maximize the screen. To access the data dictionary, it's a report. So I'm going to go into Reports, and underneath System, select a data dictionary report. I can print all of my HR database files. So I've got the radio button on Files list, and I've got Human Resources selected. I'm going to click Preview, and here's a list of tables. The benefits are stored in my BE table. So if I'm working with Expression Builder, I'm going to use that first column, the alias, BE. If I'm using a Crystal report or I'm logging into SQL, I'm going to refer to it as HBenny. The English description is Employee Benefit. Well, this is where all the fields relating to employee benefits is stored. Let's take a closer look at those fields. I'm going to close out of this report. On the left-hand side, I'm going to select Fields List. Click Preview. Here's a list of fields in my BE table. Let's read some of them so we're familiar when we do our custom reporting or working with the database. The first one in the list is 401E amount. Well, if I had to guess, this would probably be my 401k, and it's an amount field. The E, well, that could be employee or employer. So if I go over to my description, it tells me it's the employee contribution amount for 401k. The next field ends in PCT, so it makes sense that that's a percent. The third line has the letter R in it. So to me, that means it's the employer portion, the employer match amount. And then we have the same for the employer percent. If we go down to line 6, there's a field called benefit code. So I may have a life insurance plan called Life, or another plan, Dental, for my dental insurance plan. This will be a list of my benefit codes. Line number 8 is the Benny ID. And that's the real reason that I brought everyone into the data dictionary report. We're going to talk about this field, the benefit type code. I and S. Well, if I was a betting person, this is something I probably bet on. I is for insurance, S is for savings. That part makes sense. But the N and the V, I don't think I'd bet on this one. What is N or V? They're history records. Think of the letter N in the word insurance and the V in the word savings. So these are the history records, N for insurance benefits. The history record for savings is the V. So if I insert this field on a report, or if I query a report using this field, I can say, okay, do I want insurance or savings? Do I want to include history records? But what's the difference between a history record and my current record? That's what we want to talk about next. Last year, I signed up for the company dental plan, and my premium was $100. Then January 1st this year, the rate changed to $125. So the original record that was written was $100. Then when the rate changed, an additional record was written. So it meant that the first record of $100 went from an I to an N. And now my current record with the new rate of $125 is the I. Let's look at a different scenario. Medical benefit. I joined the company yesterday and I was offered the medical plan. Well, my spouse has a wonderful, wonderful medical coverage plan. So I declined this benefit. Now, you as the employer want to show that this benefit was offered to the employee, especially if it's a medical benefit, especially with all these ACA reporting requirements. So I'm going to add it to the employee. So when I add medical, it's an insurance plan, so the benefit type code is going to be an I. When I decline the coverage, you would go into the benefit and expire it. Well, it doesn't create a history record. What it does is it puts in your expiration or your waive date. So it's still one record line with an I in it, with no history record for that particular code. Let's close out of the data dictionary, and we'll go take a look at the employee level. I'm going to go into Hugh Allen's insurance benefit. I'm going to show all benefit plans. Here's my list. If I just want current benefit plans, here's my current benefits. Perhaps I want to look at history records. I'm going to show all benefit plans, but this time I'm going to check off include history records. The items listed below in bold are my current records. So if I go down and I look at GTWBW, this is not a current record. It's been expired. If I look at vision, there's multiple record lines for vision. So I was first added this benefit back in 2003. I then had a rate change for the employee premium in 2016. So a history record was created for both of these items, and then another rate change in 2017. Okay, let's go back to the handout. It's got a screenshot of our benefit table with all the fields. So if you're working on any crystal reports, you can insert the appropriate fields and do your queries. Page 8 is a little summary of the benefit type codes. So here I can see the definitions of the I, the S, the N, and the V. Underneath it is an important note. Not all expired plans are history records. So remember, when I select a benefit plan, I add it to the employee. When you expire it, you're just putting in an expiration date. Underneath that note, it states when you expire a benefit for an employee, the benefit ID field remains an I. The EXP date contains the expiration date. That's how you know it's an expired benefit as of that date. In the handout, in the screenshot, dental is in bold. So that is my current record with the change date of July 8th, 2019. The history record has a last change date of March 1st, 2010. On page 9, how to expire a benefit plan. I'm going to demo how to expire AD&D for one employee for Hugh Allen. So I'm going to show current plans only. deselect Include History Records. What is a proper way to expire a benefit for one employee? I'm going to detail this line. I can either click the plus symbol or select that line and click More. Down at the bottom is an Expire Benefit button. So this plan began for this employee, for Hugh, in the year 2000. It ends in the year 2099. So in other words, it's ongoing. We haven't really put in an end date. And the last time that there was a change to an amount was back in 2000. So let's go ahead and expire this benefit. Click Expire Benefits, and it says this option lets you specify the coverage expiration date for the employee and any dependents covered by this benefit. So I'm going to expire this benefit as of yesterday. So this will truly be an expired benefit. Click OK, and I get a pop-up message. The effective date entered for this employee is before the plan's effective date. Please re-enter the employee coverage begins date. I'm going to click OK. Did I type that wrong? Let me try that again. I'm going to expire the benefit. And I'm going to select October 29th, 2019. Click OK. There we go. That's much better. Click OK. And now you will notice that AD&D is not in the list. If I want to include history records, still not there because it is not a current plan. So I need to click on Show All Benefit Plans. It's not in bold, so I know that the benefit ID code will still be an I and that I have an expiration date filled in with yesterday's date. In the next example, on page 9, I want to expire a benefit plan for all employees. So in this case, I'm going to expire dental for all of my employees as of yesterday. So I'm going to use Hugh Allen as an example. He has dental. To do it for all employees, I'm going to go into Setup, Employees, Insurance Plans. I'm going to select my employer level to see if there's any benefit codes at this level. There isn't, so that means it's going to read from the enterprise level for DEU, the employer that Hugh belongs to, and I'm going to detail my dental plan. Plan is in effect from January 1st, 2003 to December 31st, 2099. I want to expire this as of yesterday. I'm going to click OK to save this change, and I'll get a pop-up message. Deactivating this dental code will make it unavailable for assignment when Show Inactive Codes in Enterprise Setup is set to No. However, it will not be removed from the employee records that have already had it assigned. Do you want to deactivate this code? Yes. This is an expired plan. I do not want to add it to any new hires or any other employees. The second message that appears is it's letting me know that I've entered an expiration date of yesterday's date for this benefit plan. Therefore, all employees and dependents enrolled in this plan will have their coverage expire no later than yesterday. If I click Enroll a New Plan, then all employees and dependents enrolled in this benefit plan will be enrolled in a new plan. Well, I don't want to enroll in a new plan at this point. If I did, I would click Enroll a New Plan, select the new plan, and continue. I simply want to come in and expire coverage. And it says here that if I click Expire Coverage, then all employees and dependents enrolled in this plan will have their coverage expired on yesterday's date, unless their coverage expires earlier. So if someone declined this benefit a year ago, I don't want yesterday's date. It's going to keep the date of a year ago. So I'm going to go ahead and click Expire Coverage. Let's go ahead and pull up Hugh Allen. Dental is not in the list when I show current plans only. That's because I expired it yesterday. Include history records and show all benefit plans. Here's my dental. Let's go to page 10 in the handout. The first two notes are very important, so you want to highlight those. If expired coverage is selected, the Benny ID field will remain an I since the expiry date has been updated. The record line has not been replaced. If enroll in new plan is selected, the EXP date will be updated, but the Benny ID will remain I. The next note states, expiring a benefit savings plan is similar to expiring an insurance benefit plan. It can be done in setup for all employees or one employee at the time on the savings benefit page. So whether I'm expiring an insurance benefit or a savings benefit, the logic is the same. The next topic I want to discuss is HR benefit reports pulling expired benefits. So let's go in and take a look at an HR report. Select Reports, and underneath Employees, Benefit Reports. I'm going to pull up the benefit letter, and on the second tab at the top, Standard Criteria, I can actually create my own criteria. I'm going to select Visual Fox Pro Expression Builder. I'm going to copy the expression from the handout, and let's see if it will paste here. It doesn't paste correctly. So this means I would have to type the expression that's in the handout. There's no shortcut for it. So let's talk about the logic in the handout. It says if the expiration date is null or blank, or the expiration date is zeros, or it's greater than equal to the current date, and the benefit ID is either I or S. So this will allow me to pull and get rid of the history record. So if you do not want to include history records, this is the expression you want to build. Well, how would that work with Crystal Reports? Before I jump over to Crystal Reports, I want to show you one thing. If I go to specific criteria, there are some reports that have an option to exclude history records. I'm going to go into my benefit list, and I'm going to select a different report, Benefit Enrollment by Plan. If I go to my specific criteria tab, this has an option to include history records. So if I did not want history records, I would not select this option. Now let's go to Crystal Reports. You can access Crystal Reports from Connected Services, and underneath Sage HRMS Tools, Crystal Reports. Now this would have to be installed on the workstation where the HRMS client is installed. And I'm going to open up an existing report that comes with the software. And for this one, I'm going to select my benefits enrollment. Click Open, and here's my report. Let's go into the Select Expert, the little yellow filter. I'm going to go into my formula editor and see what conditions are currently on this report. So right now it says it would pull all active employees, so P_active equals to A, and the benefit ID equals to I. To see active benefits as of a specified date, I can copy step number 2 from the handout. Now this time, the copy is going to work. So in Expression Builder, copy and paste doesn't work, but in Crystal, it does. So now I'm going to combine both expressions, and whenever I group them together, I always like to put brackets around them just to keep them separate. So I'm going to bracket the first expression and then bracket the last one I just copied. Sort of like crossing my T's and dotting my I's. So now in this expression, I want to see active employees, and they must meet this following condition that's inside parentheses. The benefit ID is either an I or an S, and the expiration date is greater than, and I set a specific date, in this case, June 30th, 2019, or the expiration date is all zeros. If you want a different date, I wanted it as of today, I simply edit this to today's date. Very easy to do. Once you've completed the expression, you want to make sure that you check it. Make sure I haven't made any mistakes. So I'm going to click my X+2 icon, and I get no errors found. Then I'm going to go ahead and save and close. Click OK to save again. And I've now modified this report. So I've resolved the issue of pulling any expired benefits. I've also been able to control the date. On page 10, that very last expression, instead of a specific date of June 30th, 2019, or today's date, I could have the report so it always uses the current system date on the computer. That's when you would use that last expression, where the expiration date is greater than or equal to the current date, or the expiration date is 0, and the benefit ID is either an I or an S, insurance or savings. If I just wanted insurance, then I would get rid of that comma S inside quotes. Do my check, make sure everything was good, and then save it. So that is how we expire a single benefit plan, a benefit plan for all employees, or just one. We've looked at the reports, how to customize them, whether it's a standard HR report to get rid of history records, and also a crystal report, how to eliminate a history record or pull as of a specified date. On the last page of your handout, on page 10, is links and contact information. I'm going to bring up my browser. The first link is to Sage City. So if I go to www.sagecity.com/support and go into Communities, Sage HRMS, I'm actually inside a forum for HRMS. Several different things we can do. We've got some general discussion areas. We've got announcements, news, and alerts. We also have a section called Sage HRMS Training. Why would you come here? Well, you can ask product questions. You can share tips and tricks with Sage peers, partners, and pros. This is also where I make announcements, for example, on the Sage HRMS Learning Series. Hey, look what we've coming up. We've got our setting up open enrollment in Sage HRMS. I've also posted a comment not too long ago. We've got 3 webinars already scheduled. What other topics would you like more information on? So that's one good link, is Sage City. The second link is questions and answers relating to Sage HRMS Learning Series. Again, they will be posted right inside that area I just took you to now. You've got a direct link in your handout. The third link is to Sage University. So you go to sageu.com/HRMS, and this is where you can see training and certification. You can view training by subject. There's also, if you have gold support, there's anytime learning videos. And these anytime learning videos are free if you have gold support. If you have any problems navigating Sage University, or if you have any questions, I've provided the telephone number and an email address in the handout. If you sign up for a course on SageU, remember to use the discount code HRMS Resource. This entitles you to 10% off. So if you have gold, you get your 50% plus an additional 10. If you'd like to register for another class for the learning series, we currently have 3 topics. You can go to the link get.sage.com, and this is where you can enroll on the classes, these other learning series. Now this session is being recorded. It'll be uploaded probably in a couple of days, and you would go to the second tab at the top, Recording and Resources, to access this recording. The last link, this deals with HRMS. So let me bring up HRMS again. And this is a grad cap. Let's say I'm in Add New Hire. Over on the far right is an icon. Looks like a graduation cap. I refer to this as a grad cap. This is a link to Sage University to browse for information that's specific to the area that I'm in Sage HRMS. So if I want more information on add new hire, maybe I'm not sure what the difference between add and steps is. I'm going to click on my grad cap icon. Takes me right to Sage U. And here's a couple of courses I can consider. And notice these are anytime learning. So if I have gold support, this is going to be free for me. So let's take a look at the first one, add new hire. Tells me it's 22 minutes long. Tells me how to navigate to add a new hire. They'll tell me about the steps. So all sorts of information that I ever wanted to know about adding a new hire into the system. Also lets me know, do I want to use that quick entry method or the step? So that was that quick add or the steps that I was just questioning a moment ago. If I'm interested in that, I would add this to the cart. Let me close some of these boxes here. And let's go back to our PowerPoint. So in summary today, we've talked about enabling benefit history inside the enterprise setup. We've reviewed the data dictionary and the benefit type codes. We've discussed the difference between benefit history and an expired benefit. So when you expire a benefit, you're really just populating that expiration date. A history record is a history of what used to be in there, maybe an old rate where you have multiple record lines on the same code. We've expired a benefit plan for one employee. We've also expired it in the setup for all employees. We've looked at a couple of solutions to stop expired benefit plans from appearing on a standard HR benefit report and how to use our crystal report and modify the select expert to get rid of history records. The items that I covered today are part of a one-day training class called Managing Your HR Setup in Sage HRMS, and there's also another one-day training class called Managing Your Employees. Both of these deal with benefits. One is a setup, the other one is a day-to-day managing. So if you'd like to sign up for any courses, you can go to sageu.com/HRMS. Remember your discount code, HRMS resource, for that 10% off. That's also in your handout. We've also got the sagecity.com/communities. You can go into your forums. And what we're going to do is we're going to post the questions and answers. Now, what I like to do now is I like to turn over the training to Clay Stauffer. If you can please summarize some of the questions that have been asked today.
Hi, Lynn. Sure can. We got a bunch of great questions, and I'll go over some of them. The first is, had a question, what happens if you enable benefit history, yet only one or a few of your plans are actually prompting for that benefit history creation? And that's a good question. What I recommended is to build a test plan or a dummy plan, for want of a better word, that is like one of your plans that's not creating benefit history. Add it to the employee, make a couple of changes, and see if that plan prompts you. If it doesn't, or if that just seems like a little bit out of the way, the best thing to do is to give our support folks a call, and they can use the Screen Connect and actually look on your system and see what maybe is going on. For those who haven't contacted our wonderful support people yet, they are open from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. Another great question came up. What happens if we wanted to expire only one company's benefits, but not the others? And the benefits are listed under the enterprise, which is a great question. And the best way of doing that is through a mass update. Mass update uses that expression builder that Lynn was talking about in the Lunch and Learn earlier. What you can do is you can say, I only want to expire this benefit if it is for this company. And then you would pick the benefit to expire. So a little bit more involved than just going in and clicking on that expire benefit button. So what I would recommend is if you are unfamiliar with mass updates, and even if you are, to once again give our support folks a call, have them look at your screen, and they can walk you through how to do that process. Even if you are a mass update pro, just make sure that you update or back up your data beforehand. And the last item, the last question, there are many questions tied to this, is having to do with our benefits enrollment module. And I think it's a great point to bring up that our benefit enrollment module is part of Sage Employee Self-Service, which I'm going to call for the rest of this question ESS. So if you have ESS, which is like the online component of Sage HRMS, you can use get the benefit enrollment module and then use that to have all of your employees go through open enrollment. Now there's actually a whole class that talks about that, but in using that program, depending on how you have it set up, that will also automatically expire benefits as well. And again, there's a whole lot of other items that if you're looking at the questions, you can see we were talking about that are tied around that benefits enrollment module. So a lot of different ways to set it up. If you have any questions about the benefits enrollment module, you can visit our website or contact one of our customer service people, and we can show you all of what that can do. But that is it. Those are the main questions that we have. Back to you, Lynn.
Thanks, Clay. If you think of any new questions, be sure to post them on the Sage City forum for HRMS training. Well, it's time to wrap everything up, so be sure to look for our next training class on November 4th for setting up open enrollment in Sage HRMS. This will be a repeat of the class that was held last Monday on October 21st. So remember, if you have any ideas for new topics, don't be shy. Reply back to my post on Sage City Forum for Sage HRMS training, or just drop by and check out what's been posted. I'd like to thank everyone for attending today's learning series on expiring benefits. Goodbye for now.